of the buffer norms. By April 10, pre-monsoon Kharif sowing had begun strongly with acreage of paddy, which as you know is the principal Kharif crop, up by 37% in comparison with the last season, that is in comparison with the Kharif of 2019. States such as West Bengal, Telangana, Odisha, Assam, Karnataka and Chhattisgarh are leading in sowing activity despite the lockdown. On April 15, the India Meteorological Department IMD forecast a normal southwest monsoon for 2020 season, with rainfall expected to be 100% of the long period average. These are early developments and they bode well for our rural demand, supported as they are by accelerating fertilizer production, which was noticed up to February 2020. The robust growth of 21.3% in tractor sales up to February 2020 as against a contraction of 0.5% in the corresponding period of the previous year may provide an offset to farm labor shortage on account of the lockdown. In other production sectors, the situation is more somber. On April 9, the Index of Industrial Production for February was released, showing that industrial output accelerated to its highest rate in 7 months. The impact of COVID-19 is not yet captured in these prints. So therefore, there is no reason to get misled by the IIP data, which was released up to February, because the impact of COVID-19 comes thereafter. More tellingly, however, the revival in electricity generation, a coincident indicator of demand that had commenced from January 2020, has been halted by a sharp fall in daily demand in the range of 25 to 30% after the lockdown announcement on March 25th. Automobile production and sales, port freight traffic declined sharply in March, as recently released data indicates. The Manufacturing Purchasing Managers Index, that is PMI, for March 2020, which was released on April 2, was the lowest in last 4 months. Notably, suppliers' delivery time lengthened for the first time in 5 months, indicating supply disruptions. The April 6 release showed that services PMI declined into contraction in March 2020, pulled down by a sharp downturn in export business, new domestic orders and employment. In the external sector, the contraction in exports in March 2020 at minus 34.6% has turned out to be much more severe than during the global financial crisis. However, amidst all this, the level of foreign exchange reserves which we have continue to be robust at US dollar 476.5 billion on April 10th, equivalent to 11.8 months of imports. Turning to the status of banking operations since the nationwide lockdown was imposed by the Government of India, the RBI has taken a number of steps to ensure normal business functioning by the entire banking sector. As a result, payment infrastructure is running seamlessly. Banks have been required to put in place business continuity plans to operate from their disaster recovery sites or to identify alternate locations for critical operations so that there is no disruption in customer services. Our data show that there was no downtime of internet or mobile banking. On an average, ATM operations stood at 91% of the full capacity. The average availability of business correspondents is over 80%. Regional offices of RBI have supplied fresh currency of rupees 1,20,000 crores from March 1 till April 14th to currency chests across the country to meet increased demand for currency in the wake of COVID-19 pandemic. Banks have indeed risen to the occasion by refilling the ATMs regularly despite several logistical challenges. In my statement of March 27, I had indicated that together with the measures announced on March 27, the RBI's liquidity injection was about 3.2% of GDP since February 2020 MPC meeting. And as you would recall, the February MPC meeting, the announcements were made, if I recall correctly, on 6th of February. So from 6th February 2020 till March 27th, including the announcement made on March 27th, RBI had injected liquidity of an amount equivalent to 3.2% of our GDP. Since then, that is since March 27th, surplus liquidity in the banking system has increased sharply in the wake of sustained government spending. Systemic liquidity surplus as reflected in net absorptions. I am talking about net absorptions, that is the difference between the taking into account both the reverse repo and the repo. So therefore, the systemic liquidity surplus